and today is day to talk about a more adult anime. So it's better to keep the children out of the room for this one, shall we? This is an anime that I was getting ready to watch for a long time and never really did. But I finally watched Wicked City, an anime from 1987, very dark, filled with violence, and extremely perverted. And as my friends also call me perverted sometimes, I loved this one. So let's talk about it. My name is Gustavo, but you can call me Gus, and this video is rated R. You've been warned. Funny fact, Wicked City was translated to Portuguese, my language, to erotic powers, which actually fits with the plot. And similar to the great classics of Japanese animation that I've mentioned here in the channel, this also came from the late 80s, 1987, and it was directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri, the same director from another anime that I love called Cyber City Oedo 08, which is a mix of sci-fi and buddy cop anime. This is probably another one that I will talk in the future here in the channel. And Wicked City tells the story of this guy named Taki, a simple guy who works on an electronics company, but in the spare times he also works as a blackguard, a kind of security officer that needs to protect certain individuals in specific situations. The animation starts very casually, showing the buzz of the nights of the city, and Taki is in a bar, drinking some, enjoying the night, and waiting for a girl that he is talking for about 3 months. And this girl named Kanako goes with him to a hotel when they start doing, well, you know what? And after a lovely night of fun, they both are resting on the bed, enjoying the night, when suddenly, Kanako reveals herself to be a kind of demonic monster that has these spider features with long arms and stuff. Not only that, but she has sharp teeth in the region of her, well, you know where. They both have a confrontation and Kanako runs out of the apartment, basically crawling the wall of the building from outside. This is when it is revealed that this world is filled with demons, and they all live in a part of this world that is called Black World. That's right, a very straightforward name. And these beings are very well known already by the humans in this reality. So much so that there is a huge feud between these two races that is about to be solved because of a peace treaty that will be signed in a few days. In the next day, Taki receives a mission to protect a signatory that will sign this treaty. A very interesting figure called Giuseppe Maillard. We're gonna talk about him in a few moments. But during this mission, many demons from the other side will attack Taki to prevent the signatory from signing the treaty. During one of these attacks, Taki faces 2 demons at once, and he ends up being saved by a blackguard of the other side, the side of the demons. A demon that is using the body of a fashion model called Maki, a very intriguing and powerful character that forms a partnership with Taki to fulfill the mission of protecting Maillard. That soon is introduced to us as this little strange creature that looks like an old man from our world. And to add, he is an old depraved man. For reals, I never seen a character so depraved in my life. If you know the anime Dragon Ball and you know the Master Roshi, this character here is 10 times more depraved than Master Roshi in Dragon Ball. So much so that he keeps hitting on Maki all the time, literally throwing himself upon her, waiting for any opportunity to put his hands where he shouldn't. And the story is basically about this mission to make the old man sign the treaty as soon as possible, but along the way they will be attacked by many demons in many different shapes and visuals, sex genders, all to stop this treaty from being signed. And there are many plot twists in the story, but this anime basically has all the things that I love in Japanese animation. For example, demons. If there's a guy who loves demons more in this life than me, I don't know. In fact, my first novel, The Angel of Fire and Steel, is basically about demons of hell. Plus, my favorite movie in this life is The Exorcist, so... And here the demons are portrayed as these beings who take the human form first. But in the best John Carpenter's The Thing style, They transform themselves into these creatures of bones twisted with flesh and blood that destroy their human shell when they need to reveal themselves. Then they unfold into this Swiss army of pointy bone structures. I also love the dark moods of the story, talking about this underworld that exists and people know about it, but basically is the story about these creatures living in a dark universe that, despite being well known, is filled with obscure and secret pleasures. And when I talk about pleasures, this is exactly the theme of this story, because despite being violent, full of gore, blood, and guts like the most animes that I talk here in the channel, there's a lot of sex. Scene after scene after scene. And usually I don't appreciate these elements in animes, but here there is a purpose to it. Because the sex, the pleasure, this dark world is part of everything that surrounds these characters. And it's not used just for shock value, which I was afraid of that being the case. For the first time, I see the element of sex being used as a weapon in the story. A weapon to attract praise for their destruction or for their destruction itself. And this is a very interesting thing because it doesn't distract us from the main plot. It just elevates it. But I must warn you that they are very shocking scenes during the way. Some are done in a very elegant way, but others are very explicit. I'm going to talk about the rest of the plot, but first let's hear a quick message of the channel. And before continuing this video, I would like to ask you a big favor. If you can become a supporter of the channel Trashing with Gus, I will leave the link of my Patreon right here on the description of this video. There you will see many categories of how can you support the channel so I can continue with this job and we can continue to trash together. In each category you have different perks or rewards, should I say, including have your names at the end of each video, receiving my videos 2 weeks before everybody else, and the most important of all, receive my first novel in ebook form, The Angel of Fire and Steel. A huge dark epic fantasy that mixtures sci-fi with cyberpunk and a lot of action. It will surely be the most badass book that you will read in this year of 2024, I can promise you that. So you will receive this ebook for free in this month of January if you become a patron now. In February, you will receive my next novel, that is Letters for Mr. Solitude. In March, you will receive a novel from a slasher of horror that is one of my creations. And if you know me by this channel, you know who I'm talking about. And from April on, you will receive other content for free from my creation from this channel. So please, if you can support the channel in order for us to continue, I'll be eternally grateful and you will always receive the best perks and rewards that I can give you. Or you can just buy The Angel of Fire and Steel that is right now in the site of Amazon in ebook form, and you will be already helping the channel. The link for it is right down here in the description as well. Thank you so much, and let's continue with the video. Besides all these elements that I mentioned, the background of the story also interested me very much. This universe where humans and demons live together for a long time, they know about each other, they have this conflict between the races that has many tones of racism, but that seems to hide a fascination between each other as well. It's obvious that the interaction between these two races is considered something heretic, but their own secret desires are undeniable. By the way, my art mentions during one point of the movie that spending a night with a girl demon, it's something that it doesn't compare to any other pleasure that exists, because the experience they provide is just unparalleled. There are many other elements in the story like black magic, magic to protect some places or destroy the same places. There's also the element of the action. It's not a very action-driven anime, but there is this element like many others. But besides all this dirty and perverted mood, there's also a layer of purity in some of the characters. Like for example, Maki, who is my favorite character in the anime, exactly for her to be a rebel demon that wants the treaty to be signed and desires that peace takes place between the two races. And the chemistry between her and Taki is great, developing from a strictly professional relation, almost like a buddy cop, but that slowly becomes a romantic interaction, especially after the two of them sacrifices themselves for each other during the mission. And because they are very charismatic characters, this relation works. And this links back to the purity of her character, which will culminate in a very hopeful ending that I will not tell because I think it's worth for you to watch it. But like I said, it's an ending that brings a very hopeful future for the story, all besides this perverted and dark world that they inhabit. It's a great anime. Again, I was very relieved that the sex was not just done for shock value and be well integrated to the plot. The demonic element is also very well placed since we are talking about demons in the story. And all these elements add up for the whole thing to be a dark fantasy, mixing all these realistic and mystical elements in a way that is very interesting. So if you never watched it, Wicked City is a well worth watch. I recently found the whole anime here in YouTube full if you wanna watch it right now, so I will put the link right down here on the description of the video. Also, I recently discovered that there is a live action version of the anime, also titled Wicked City from 1992. I haven't watched it yet, but from the images it looks to be very, very trash, so it is perfect for me to make a video in the future, but only in the future. And this is it for now. What did you think about Wicked City? Comment below. And if you want more suggestions in the future about dark animes filled with violence and action, don't forget to subscribe in the channel, cause the Trashing with Gus is your house. And this is it for me. Thank you very much for watching the video. See you in the next Trashing with Gus, and bye bye.